Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Black Mirror 2. So, we started the next chapter and we certainly didn't get very far. We're trying to get into Angela's room and we had this long group of conversations. A lot of times in point-and-click adventure games, it feels like they write conversations in a way that you would talk to a person about one thing, then just hit the X and go do something, and then come back and talk to them about a different thing, then hit the X and then do something. No real efficient video game player would ever play that way. You're going to have every conversation you can have and try to exhaust the possibilities, in my opinion. And when you do that, you often end up having an unnatural flow of conversation. We may be able to pick up the souvenir now.
I'd rather chop my hand off than buy this plastic crap from China and speed up global warming and the demise of mankind.
Well, maybe we don't have to buy it. Maybe we just put the batteries in it right as it is. No, apparently not. Let's give the alcohol to him. No, apparently not. Matches. Matches on the postcards. So we have the beginning understandings of what we're supposed to do, but I'm not 100% sure on how to accomplish it. Meanwhile, we're getting a lot of backstory and elements based around...
I'm not going to allow myself a nap while I still haven't found Angelina.
Well, we're getting the story of the first game, but I'm not sure how much of the story really matters. Maybe I'm supposed to just use like the butter knife on Angelina's room.
I'm gonna keep this portrait of Angelina. She looks just stunning. The most beautiful girl I've ever met.
See, the surprise would be if this photo is not real and there is no Angelina and all of this is a hallucination, but then that makes the whole game a hallucination because he's been talking to people about Angelina, and so every single interaction, every single bit of the story would have to be written two different ways if that's the truth. I can look at the bookshelf. Maybe there's something new I can get here after I talk to the porter.
A whole load of good books, but I don't know how they're supposed to help me in my search for Angelina.
So the best I can figure, let's look at our diary. I guess that might help too. Let's see what our latest goal is. Get the key for Angelina's room. Angelina's room is next to mine, but it's locked. I'm not going to get any further without a key. So even the game is specifically telling me that...
If at all, that thing was maybe used during the first months when the place opened. I'd like to bet it hasn't turned a wheel since.
Like... I just want to steal this key.
One of the keys belongs to Angelina's room. It's number 13, but I can't get my hands on it while Murray's standing at the counter.
And of course, if you're not into point-and-click adventure games, this would be the point where you're just like, punch this guy, just knock him out, just take the key. Just violence as the answer would be a lot easier than trying to do what I think I'm supposed to do, which is start the leaves on fire. I tried that already, but apparently I needed to have a conversation with the guy first.
That pile's not been here for long. The leaves are soaking wet on the outside, but they look drier underneath. The rain hasn't made everything wet through.
It certainly could be a case of there being a magnifier somewhere on the screen that I just don't see. Also, yeah, nope, I just had to have the conversation first before I could start the fire. Just
There's no
bad
way
programming.
I could light this heap with a match on its own. The leaves underneath are too damp as well. A match wouldn't even char them.
Newspaper pile leaves. There we go.
I've got the crumpled newspaper in the middle, next to the leaves which aren't so wet.
Match on pile of leaves. Now. Interesting
The newspaper's
sound
lit.
effect.
The leaves next to it are just charring. They're not gonna burn, they're too damp for that.
And alcohol.
Why should I pour away the last good drops?
Keeping the alcohol. And I guess I'm not supposed to throw batteries in a pile of leaves. Right. And camera. Just to double check. And now I guess maybe I can distract the guy because of that. I assume that's all I need to do. Yeah, now I can talk about the fire. I just started.
Murray, there's smoke outside. I hope the hotel isn't gonna burn down around our heads.
Bugger! Oh!
Quick, buy this.
As long as Murray's outside putting out the fire, I can take Angelina's key unnoticed.
Alright, take the key, take the souvenir, take the postcards, look in the lockbox, look in the guest book, look for everything else. So now we've got a key.
Now we'd like that.
Oops, apologies for that. I have no idea what that would have been or said. Oh, darn it. As soon as I got the key, it stopped the scene.
Those little brats! They've no idea how dangerous that is. They should...
The young are really bad.
So even he is cutting him off. That wasn't me in that instance. And clearly, I guess I still have matches, so maybe I could go start a fire again and try to look at the guest book and all of this. But I imagine there will be a secondary reason why Murray leaves this area for the lockboxes and the rest of this stuff. But I don't think any of that's going to be allowed. If our previous experience that we just had proves anything, this game is extremely linear and not willing to let the player play their own way or deviate from what the game wants you to do, which is a problem with a lot of point-and-click adventure games. Because the player's logic has to be 100% in line with the logic of the writer of the game, and that's not the case. Yeah, even at this rate, this still feels like this cell is smaller than the cell that was in the first game. So if this is supposed to be the same building, they must be combining cells or knocking down walls or something. Let's see. This is way too small of a hotel room for paying £60 on. And £90, what was it? A lot of things. Touch the radiator, see how long she's been
A white
going.
painted ribbed radiator. The heating's lukewarm.
Here's a picture. In the first game there was a hole in the wall. Maybe on this
What's
side.
that? One of the pictures I took of Angelina. That's gotta be a clue for me.
Yeah, what kind of person hangs up a photo of themselves in a hotel? That's crazy.
So it is. There are a few white notes on the back of the picture.
Interesting. We could probably do for a short, simple puzzle, if we can get a short, simple puzzle in this game. Lemons. Maybe we'll have to do a visible ink trick.
Interesting. Several cut lemons. And there's a sliver of wood stuck in one of them. A thick-walled but relatively squat glass. You'd normally be drinking a drop of the hard stuff out of this kind of glass.
Let's see.
Here's a few sheets of writing paper. Now, did Angelina make any notes about her investigations?
And let's just keep on clicking on
The
things.
paper looks completely unused. I won't find anything here.
Let's keep on trying to take the
A
glass.
thick-walled but relatively squat.
Alright.
She didn't eat the lemons, that much is clear. Lemons and a sliver of wood. That rings a bell somehow.
There's a light here and a light here, but neither one of them are enabled as far as things you can click on.
A thick, heavy, and very old-fashioned bedspread. There are woolen threads around the edges.
Let's pick up the blanket.
I can't take the cover, but I can take the wooden thread as a souvenir. It wouldn't be the first time something like that had come in useful.
So I get some kind of thread. There's a little cupboard.
A little cupboard. Looks rather like an antique. And inside there's... Sleeping potion.
What?
Now could that be Angelina's? Maybe she was having nightmares from all that business. What the hell have I gotten her into?
There's no such thing, to my knowledge, in the real world as far as sleeping potions, so it would have made a lot more sense to say sleeping pills. Like, that... I know Black Mirror 1 certainly had a little bit of supernatural in it, but I don't think it was that supernatural.
I don't see anything that might be significant. A completely normal tube TV, like most folks have at home.
I'm trying to exhaust everything before I try to use the camera and see if I unlock anything.
Let's see.
Almost certainly I'm not going to unlock all the extras.
A few clothes hangers, a clothes rail, a few drawers. Everything empty and squeaky clean.
So, her room seems like it's been emptied, sort of. Let's see. Cupboard, bed, glass, lemons, radiator, picture, TV, cupboard. I think I tried to take a picture of everything. Yes. So it feels like I'm gonna need one of the cheap Soul Key toys to see the invisible ink.
Nothing special. A typical hotel bathroom, like you can find all over the world.
What in the world was the deal with that? That music, then?
I'm not gonna find anything interesting in the bathroom. The room is very small, and it doesn't look like Angelina's left me a message.
Okay, so... little bottle of alcohol on the glass. Might as well. Since that seems like that's gonna work.
The glass is half full.
And then the notes.
Strange. There are 2 sheets of writing paper, folded twice, but there's nothing on them. Either it's a secret message written in invisible ink, or the empty pages themselves are some kind of clue. But right now, though, I have no idea myself.
Well, let's try the notes with the glass. That doesn't do anything. Sleeping potion with the glass. That doesn't do anything. Breadcrumbs with the glass. That doesn't do anything. Matches with the glass.
That can't work. No matter if it's rum or whiskey. Even if it was meth. I need a small controllable flame. I'm missing a wick.
Also, I am making some kind of candle because apparently the power's out and these two lights don't
Great.
work.
The woolen thread is acting like a wick and soaking up the alcohol. Looks like I've rediscovered the world's oldest artificial light source.
Here's the thing here. If you wanted to add a puzzle to make me make a oil lamp, don't set that puzzle in a room with two lights that are perfectly fine and just not clickable. Don't set it in a hotel that has several visible light bulbs turned on. Don't set it in a room with a TV. Like, there's so many red herrings in this room, in the reasonable surrounding area. Like, most people would very easily never get this as an idea. I didn't get it when I put alcohol in the glass. I just saw that it would work and I figured it might try it. It wasn't until his conversation told me, oh no, I'm building a candle, that I realized I was building a, not candle, but an oil lamp. Alright, so I'm not seeing any flame effect at all from the matches.
Awesome.
There is a flame
My little
effect here.
fire's lit. It was working like that 10,000 years ago, too. Now what do I do with it?
And we'll just burn the paper now.
So, let's see.
Angelina has a lot of
At
faith
last.
in him.
There's Angelina's message.
So let's read the message, I guess. I mean, doesn't seem like there'd be any reason to burn other things. And in fact, it seems like if things are intended to interact with each other, the icon turns red, so the game is telling you what to do before you even do it.
Sunday, 1600. I don't know what's supposed to be so
special about Willow Creek. It all seems so forlorn, poor, and desolate. Hopefully I won't have to disappoint Darren. He's helped me so much, and I only now hope that I can help him too. Sunday, 9 p.m. That Porter Murray is a damned shark. He had money off me for every single bit of info. I'm not doing that again. I'll go to the library tomorrow, and there's supposed to be a town museum too. Maybe I'll pick up something there about Darren's castle. Monday, 11 a.m. Black Mirror was built in the 14th century by the two brothers, Marcus and Mordred Gordon. The brothers argued and virtually waged war with each other. To this day, descendants of the Gordon line still inhabit Black Mirror Castle. They will, however, soon die out. The last young Gordon died 12 years ago, having committed suicide. Monday, 2 p.m. I've got something on the tree symbol that Darren discovered on Boris's ring. The symbol is mentioned in the Chronicle of the Gordon family. I also stumbled across it in the library. It's the symbol of a secret society, a kind of sect that wants to summon up dark powers and uses corpses in the process. What if Boris is one of them? Monday, 4 p.m. I found out in the pub that people believe there's a curse on Black Mirror Castle and the Gordon family. Maybe I'll change the topic of my degree thesis. I'd much rather write about accursed castles, though I can't see my good Prof. Hubbard being too thrilled about the idea. Monday, 9 p.m. He's here. Reginald Boris is here in Willow Creek. I've just seen him sneaking about the hotel. What should I do? Is he here because of me? Now, of all times, right when I want to investigate the passage. I'm not going to let myself be stopped, but I'll send off some insurance.
So, this is what, that was a lot of dialogue. A lot of setup.
Oh man, Reginald Boris. Angelina had been doing some research, and Boris had caught her at it. Now, he's holding her prisoner, and does he want to lure me to him? In Maine, he wanted to take me on a journey. Is this all about me? Whatever the reason for all this might be, Angelina doesn't have anything to do with it. She's got into danger because she wanted to help me. It's my fault if something happens to her. I ought to go into the village and listen around. Angelina was there. But I need to be careful. I don't know who might belong to this order that Angelina warned me about.
Notice that there was no subtitles in the cutscene where we were reading all of that. I'm also kind of confused now because is her name Angelina Morgan and my name Darren Gordon? Like, because I thought her name might be Angelina Gordon and that she was a Gordon. I had said earlier that it was kind of weird in the first game that there were no kids, and it seemed like the Gordon family was going to die out, but it seems like the story has been now completely confirmed that that's exactly what's going on right now, is that they are going to die out, and that he is the last heir, which is weird because I still kind of feel like she might be some distant cousin to him, but maybe they just picked the wrong name. You know, if they had not given her a name like Morgan, which I'm assuming is her name, and I'm missing some major important facts, definitely. Let's see.
Angelina must have swapped over the old picture with one of my pictures of her. She knew that anyone who knew her would spot it immediately.
Including the bad guy.
Should I sit myself down in front of the TV and wait until I see ghostly messages from Angelina in the white noise? Maybe not.
Why can I still click on some of this stuff?
Also, when I look inside again, the robe's completely empty.
Like, just trying to exhaust everything.
The bed looks old-fashioned, but not uncomfortable. I'm rather tempted by the idea of a couple hours on it. I've been on my feet for more than 24 hours now. But I really can't allow myself a break until I've found Angelina.
Like, he said earlier when he flew over to Willow Creek and then had to ride in a bus for 45 minutes, I think is what he said. So he's been sitting for at least 45 minutes on a bus, if not several hours. So just bad writing in general. Just made up numbers, no consistency in the story. Like, this diary could be a lot more helpful if there was a character section that would actually show pictures and names of people.
But I don't know how they're supposed to help me in my search for Angelina.
I don't think there's really a reason.
There's nothing in my room that could help me in my search for Angelina.
I don't think there's anything really to do here. So I think...
No. I don't think there's anything of interest waiting for me back there.
So, unless the story does a little bit of a cutscene, I think we're just gonna leave and start doing some investigation. It's odd that I don't have the photo fit of the character of Boris, Reginald Boris, because if I showed that photo to the porter, for instance, he could have probably given me some information about the person. Like I said, I'm looking for this guy, do you know who he is? Type question. Time to finally leave the hotel, previously a sanatorium. And I guess not so much a case of an overworld map yet. I'm just gonna move from
We all know that old one.
What do you mean?
A young, attractive lady is carrying a stack of books and lets them fall at the feet of the hero.
Excuse me? I'm the librarian here, so it's quite right that I should be carrying books around the place.
It's quite wrong that you should
Young,
be dropping them.
Attractive? Well, I'll accept that. But why do you consider yourself to be a hero?
You're the librarian? Oh, then you can definitely tell me something worth
Like,
knowing
why
about
is he
this
hitting
place.
on the girl?
Miss,
Valley. You're American?
Like, what? Why are you hitting on a girl when you were in
Darren
love with
Michaels.
Angelina?
Do I really sound
Okay, his
American?
name is Darren
Oh,
Michaels.
yes. Now let me see. Your accent is non-rhotic. That is, you don't sound the phoneme R at the end of a syllable, or before consonants. And you have hard A sounds. That's the famous Boston accent.
Awesome! I really do come from Boston.
I've spent half my life in books, so something has to have stuck.
So then you can probably tell a damn Yankee something about Willow Creek?
What do you want to know?
So, yeah, she's probably gonna get murdered. But that's probably good too, is have a new victim, have a new murder mystery. Move the story forward past just Angelina missing. I don't like the idea of characterizing Darren Michaels, apparently. But I mean, that would be a fake last name, wouldn't it? Like, I don't like the idea of characterizing him as a womanizer. It just cheapens an already extremely cheap relationship between Darren and Angelina.
I'm staying at the Gordon's Palace
It's a
Hotel.
good chance Angelina
Really?
might be a part of the
You're
cult.
letting yourself get ripped off by that old so-and-so Murray?
The building is supposed to have had a terrible past.
That's true.
It would seem that all of the male Gordons were a little bit crazy.
The curse of the Gordons.
Please don't tell me you believe in all that hokum.
I never used to.
You English. You like your ghost stories and all that a little too much.
This is really bad writing.
That's the obligatory village pub. It never was a great place, but since the old landlord left, it really has gone downhill. The new landlord
That
is
was an
Tom,
odd
the
transition.
chap at the chili stall. The fair will be here for a few more days yet, but I wouldn't bet that it'll be coming back again.
Alright, and so we're getting apparently things we can click on, but not yet. So they definitely have programmed it so we have a conversation about Willow Creek and Black Mirror before we can talk about Tom or the fair.
Well, is there anything about Willow Creek that's worth knowing?
Not a lot. There must have been a settlement there for a good 1,000 years or so. They found remains dating back that far.
Yeah, a stone circle in a forest. So I've heard.
When did we
Yes.
hear that?
There's one of those. It really only kind of got going around the 13th century when there was a monastery built in the neighborhood. Also a church and the first part of a castle.
And more recently?
You're talking about the murders. That's 12 years ago now. Let's not talk about those.
She has this kind of sad line of dialogue in the way she vocalizes. This is not how the city looked originally.
Back there,
They've
by the town
redesigned
hall,
it.
is my empire. The library. Perhaps it's because there's otherwise so little going on here. There are plenty of people who like to and who do read a lot. Sadly, often all the wrong things. Trashy stuff and the cheapest pulp lit are in high demand.
This is actually a much better layout for the city area because it visually connects the pub section with the what was a pawn shop over here section. But then it also shows that the city just has a little bit of a river going through it, and which in the first game it wasn't like that. Instead, there was a pub section here, and then this bridge would have connected at this part and gone down that direction to make the city look a little bit longer. And there was a much bigger lake that a fisherman was fishing at. I like this design, but you've literally changed history now to have better camera angles. And the only thing that we're doing right now is we're avoiding having one extremely long cutscene by breaking it up into 3 cutscenes. And you could have asked the questions, I guess, in different order, but it wouldn't really wouldn't change anything.
The castle nearby, isn't that the famous Black Mirror Castle?
It certainly is. Its inhabitants have influenced things around here for centuries. Sometimes for the good, sometimes rather more negatively.
How do you mean that?
Everything around here belongs to the Gordons. In the old days, virtually everything that went on here was all decided in the castle. Just what could happen in the village, and what could not.
And who lives in the castle today?
Lady Victoria Gordon, the last of the Gordons, her old butler Bates, and her late brother's widow, Lady Eleanor. I think there are a few other servants too.
It sounds like some of the characters from the previous game are still alive when they really shouldn't be. It's gonna be weird to see 3D versions of 2D characters from the first game.
That's the museum. If you want to know more about Willow Creek, then that's the place to be. At least in the front bit.
What's in the back?
The newly opened Black Museum. Cheap special effects animation, horror and titillation at others' expense.
The museum was the pawn shop before, like the exact same buildings even. In the first game there was nothing that happened in this, at this store, or here, or here. You never got back to the alarm clock, did anything with that. So it would have been really, really easy and a better move in Black Mirror 2 to have us go to different locations, and then when they tried to open, say, the pawn shop, you say, well, this door's locked or there's nothing to do there. You can see it as a sly and intriguing reference, but not have it thrown in your face like this game is doing. I'm a big fan of a game called Myst. That's a game where it's a 3D puzzle island that you walk around. If they were ever to make a new Myst game and you could only see the puzzles from the first game, and then there were new puzzles to deal with, that would be a lot more interesting than to play a new Myst 1 game where you're going to the same buildings but things have just been changed slightly. This feels like in the course of 5 years they barely, just ever so slightly changed the layouts of things, and added 3D animation on the characters, which arguably during the time frame that this came out, maybe that's all they were working on, was just 5 years of banging their head against how do we animate 3D characters and make them look good, because that's the new fad, when frankly point and click adventure games don't need that.
What's wrong with the Black Museum? Why should you get so wound up about it?
It's not about
I can't hit the X,
people.
by the way.
Nothing to do with knowledge.
So you have to ask
it's
all
about
these
putting
questions.
blood and suffering on display.
I'm afraid that's what folks are interested in.
Because they want to gawk. These are the same people who would rather photograph an accident than help out. They don't share in any of the misfortunes of those behind the spectacle.
She's now sounding a lot like Darren, very pious. I feel like the writers are just shoving in political rants every now and then. And I guess that would be attractive to Darren if you can be outraged together. But again, Darren doesn't need a second female interest. He's on a mission to find Angela. So unless Angela turns up dead really quickly, this is gonna be weird.
Can you help me with the symbol? A tree where the roots reach around and up into the branches. That mean anything to you?
Where do you know that from?
You know something about it?
You ought to forget about it again as soon as possible.
I stumbled across it in Maine, and now I'd like to know if it...
Maine? You come... But you said Boston. I've still got something to finish. Good day.
That's suspicious.
Miss
Follow-
Valley, listen!
Follow her.
And she's gone. What was that all about?
Seriously? You can't figure it out? She knows something. Tons of things to click on for no reason.
A big barrel. It's supposed to collect rainwater.
Is there any in it?
Although it's always raining here, that barrel is almost empty. Seems to have a leak somewhere. Willow Creek Museum. That sign must have cost the townsfolk quite a bit.
Is it better than the sign on the hotel? And why would I care? This is slow walking speed they've got him on. Come on, speed up, Darren. Nobody wants to see you walk this long. I clicked on an eyeball,
The
so I
library.
wasn't expecting him
Miss
to
Valley's Empire.
walk at all. And instead I had to walk all the way
The
down
light
there.
is off and the door is locked. I'll have to come back later.
He doesn't check the door. I'm okay with the game kind of skipping those steps. We don't need to see a 5-second animation where he tries the door, finds out it's locked, and says the door is locked. I'm willing to suspend the disbelief a little bit on that. In the same way I'd be willing to suspend a need for him to walk to specific points before he looks at certain things. Like, this is just extremely slow.
The clock on the tower is huge. However, it seems to have stopped.
And that was mentioned in the first game and never really dealt with, so whenever we get to those flashback sections of this game that I thought I heard were going to happen, we may explain why the tower clock is stopped.
That must be the town hall.
Hmm.
There's no church in the village, but I saw one on the way here.
So when we click this, we have a street, we have rope.
The houses here look just as dilapidated as the rest of the place. The village comes to an end less than 100 yards from here. I hardly think there's a quaint alleyway, a picturesque canal, or a peaceful courtyard hidden around the corner. Actually, I'm quite sure there isn't.
I don't know what we're going to do at the fair. If we do anything with the fair. Like, I really didn't
Old rope.
ever understand how
It's wrapped
anybody
around the
made
pole up
any
there,
money.
and the
in
other
this-
end disappears
in
into
Willow
the
Creek.
canal. I can't make out where it leads. The water's too dirty.
Can we just pull it?
Aha, a little bucket. Perhaps one of the residents wants to save money by collecting some of his water from the canal. The bucket is full of canal water. It seems quite clean in the bucket. At least it looks cleaner than when it was in the canal. The bucket is full of canal water.
So we've got canal water. Unless I'm supposed to cut the bucket. I don't like, or put the sleeping medication, which is what they're calling it now.
A small, brownish bottle of a liquid sleeping preparation. 3 drops from dropping off.
Let's see, what else can we take pictures of? Now, let's see if we need to take a picture of the bucket. Nope. Got a couple other things over here. beam. If Black Mirror 2 had come out 2 or 3 years after Black Mirror 1, I would understand them reusing assets.
There would have been a pulley
I'd
attached
even
to
think
that
like,
girder in the
oh, they
past
planned it from
to
the
lift goods
beginning.
into the storage space under the
But
roof. For a bakery,
The
that would
long
mostly be flour.
delay screams that this game wasn't in development or that there was a complete and total developmental reboot.
It looks like it's a bakery.
So the game should
Or
feel like
was a bakery. Hard to say whether the building is still in use. It must have been built years ago, but now it looks rather untended and abandoned.
that. There was no bakery in the first game that I recall. Right. So
The
we can go
stalls
to
bring
the
a
fair.
bit of color to the place. Nevertheless, it can't change the dreary atmosphere.
Let's just see if we can go to the fair and see how much that adds to anything. I don't think we're at that point yet where we need to be in this location. But apparently we can be at that point. And like the first game, we've had a drastic camera shift. Let's see. Well, maybe not. Maybe what they're saying is that this was the old pub from the first game. And then there would have been more that we saw from a different angle over here.
An overturned beer keg. Pure show for the tourists, I reckon. Even here, they're hardly likely to still get their beer delivered in wooden barrels. Empty. Exactly like in this place here.
So, all kinds of things we can try and take pictures of.
The building looks like it was renovated years back, but has been completely neglected ever since. There's dirt and dust all over the walls. A hose pipe would work wonders. The pub looks anything other than promising. If I was a routine tourist, it would never cross my mind to go in there to get a drink, let alone to eat. I don't know what these kind of windows are called. There are lots of little glass panes and a lead lattice. They're much cheaper than big panes, since you can use broken pieces in them too.
See if there's a message on the menu board.
I can scarcely recognize what's on the board. It must have been written weeks ago. The wind and the rain have done their worst since then. Taking into account this country's food culture and the look of the pub, I'm not going to go to the trouble of decoding the culinary delights.
So we can go in the pub. We're getting some background noise.
Some hand towels which have been hung out to dry. The rooms above a pub are traditionally inhabited by the landlord and his family. Even from down here, you can still see stains on the towels. But I don't need one anyway. That's gotta be Willow Creek's bench.
That's sarcastic. So, like 10 things that had no importance at all. Let's see. Gas bottles for balloons.
Huh. Gas bottles. A red and a blue one. Probably to fuel the grill, but I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah, okay. And so now we've got a diner again, except for this time it's a chili stand. That seems weird, and I guess that's as far as you go. Like, doesn't seem like there's anything else past this point you can walk to.
A bit tatty, and it doesn't look like there's too much going on.
So I could talk to Tom for
Public
no
festival, only without a public. There's barely a dozen folks here, and at least 2 stalls and the swing boats have already shut up shop. It's simply not worth it. Willie's Texas Chili. Now that sure makes me feel right at home.
So we can
A
still
chili
take
stall. A bit tatty. And it doesn't look like there's too much going on.
Yeah,
I don't
there's a lot
reckon
of
I'm gonna
things.
make too much progress here at the fair. The show people aren't from around here and won't be able to help me for sure.
Seems like the game itself is telling me some hints to get out of this area. It's not going to be
Chili, hot chili, super hot chili, Guatemalan hellish hot chili. Well, looks like they might be selling chili here.
Yeah, and let's see. Unless I'm supposed to take a picture of Tom, or the chili stall, or the sign, there's nothing here. Another 45 minutes down. Where did we end last time? We ended at the hotel, and so now we're ending kind of nowhere. Like, we barely moved the story forward. We entered a new area. In entering a new area, we know we're opening up the door in a point-and-click adventure to solve more puzzles and find more puzzles to solve. But there's definitely a lack of balance between conversations and puzzles and cutscenes and conversations and puzzles in the way that it makes the game just really, really slow. This is the kind of game that even if you were trying to speedrun it, you wouldn't really save much time. You just can't. Not until you hit the point of just skipping all the cutscenes in general, and then the game becomes understandable. That's probably why most speedrun shows don't show a lot of point-and-click adventure games. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, I'm asking you to friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good